Welcome to the Abundant Soul Podcast. Hello everyone, it's Stephanie here. And in today's episode, Ashley and I dive into a topic where we both face real challenges, which is sleep. We share our raw experiences with insomnia and anxiety, exploring how Yoga Nidra can become an ally in finding rest. As professionals with different life demands, Ashley is balancing multiple projects, and me, I am a mother navigating both career and parenthood. So we know firsthand the struggle of making sleep a priority amid busy schedules. We'll challenge the hustle culture mindset and share practical tools that have transformed our relationship with rest. From navigating different seasons of sleep needs to discovering ancient practices that work in modern life, this conversation offers hope and actionable solutions. Join us for an honest discussion about making rest non-negotiable and finding peace in your sleep journey. Whether you're battling sleep disruption, managing anxiety, or simply seeking deeper rest, we hope the tools will help you sleep like a baby. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing okay, a little tired. How are you?
I would say the same.
Yeah.
I would say the same. Tired, surviving the days
Ooh,
lately.
surviving the days. I feel like I can feel that when you say that. Yeah.
So, what is going on?
What is going on in my world right now? I think something big that's very important that I think we should totally talk about today is this, I don't want to say lack of sleep because I'm trying, right? I'm trying to go to bed at a reasonable hour, but the disruption of sleep, and I'm having a really hard time drifting away to sleep. And I'm noticing it affect my days moving forward, or it's almost like you wake up a little, not grumpy, but kind of, you're just like, like my poor snooze button is probably just like, oh my God, again, really? Like, why did you even set it at this time if we're not getting up right now? Oh, yeah. So sleep is something that's top of mind for me right now. What about you?
I hear you. Oh my God, sleep has been at top by my head for, I would say, 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
So insomnia for me is my first trigger that I have anxiety. And I never have the issue of falling asleep at the beginning of the night. That's not my issue. My issue is waking up. It could be waking up multiple times, but the biggest time would be around 2 or 3 a.m. where I would not fall back asleep for an hour or two. And I've tried everything, well, or at least everything that I know about. And I can tell you all about what I tried. But it's really, I would feel, linked with either anxiety or, when you start thinking about things. It could be out of joy as well. It's not always linked to anxiety. It could be links from I'm excited about something and I'm very eager or this journey that is coming up, and then I can't sleep. Right? So it's or sometimes there is nothing and I'm like wide awake and what is going on? But when I dig deeper, then I will find this anxiety. It's also linked with my son, who wakes up.
Wait, so he wakes up throughout the night too?
Yes, he does. He does.
Okay.
So he has been, if I go there, it's a very, very long story. But he had always hated sleeping. Even when he was 2 months old, he didn't want to nap. He's 2 months old. He has to nap for hours. He did not. Like, his longest nap was 45 minutes in a full day. So he has been lacking sleep. And he did not make the difference between day and night for a very long time. So he would wake up during the night every 30 minutes to eat. I was breastfeeding. So they say that when they get older, they start to make the difference, and they feed for a longer period of time, and then they stop eating and they sleep for a longer period of time. It's never happened. And actually, so he's a very fast and small eater, still to that day, and he's 8 years old. So when he was a baby, he would eat for 10 minutes, but every like 30 to 45 minutes. While other babies would eat for 45 minutes, and then they would be good for 3-4 hours. So that impacted the night for, I think, at least 1 year. 1 full year I was breastfeeding, and he would wake up every 30 to 45 minutes.
Dang, girl.
Yeah, and then I was happy it was every hour. And I started to work, and that's part of my burnout journey, so the lack of sleep. And I'm someone that needs my sleep. I need 8 to 9 hours of sleep, so I'm in bed around 9 p.m. That has always been that. So this sleep disruption had a huge impact on my day. And when I started to work, he was 15 months old. He was still not sleeping through the night. And I ended up in a burnout. That's a long story short. And then, because I was at home, he was 19 months. Yes, 19 months, I think. When I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not going to breastfeed during the night. That was a huge fight. And I was lacking sleep. So I don't know if this trained me. I don't remember having insomnia before, but I don't know if that period of time trained me for being awake on a scent, like as soon as I hear a noise. And I was co-sleeping also, because what I haven't said is my husband was not living with us at the time. He was doing his postdoctorate in Boston, and I was still living in Canada, so I was basically a single mom. So that's why I decided to co-sleep, because again, my sleep is very important. I could not get up every half an hour.
Right.
So I choose my sleep as a priority. So the co-sleeping was the solution at the time. But that had an impact.
Yeah.
Because he's still co-sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
We really fought hard. Once we moved to the US, he was 3 years and a half. We were fighting so hard for him to go in his bed. And he was for many years, until last year. But at the beginning, I was sleeping, so he was sleeping in his bed, I was sleeping on a mattress in his room, and then I moved the mattress in the hallway, and then, so it was like, I was not sleeping well all this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very disruptive for me. And then I managed to go, like, in my room, but he was still waking up. And it's funny because he never cried to come in, for us to go. He would always get up and come in our bed. But that was disruptive as well for me in my sleep.
Yeah.
So my husband, like, at some point I put my boundary, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. I need my sleep, so I don't care if he sleeps in our bed. So my husband was the one taking care of that for a while, until he could not anymore. Like, it was a real fight every night for him to sleep in his bed. Every night, my husband would stay in the hallway, read there. We didn't have, private time with my husband anymore, because once, like, sometimes he was falling asleep at 10 p.m. And my son needs his sleep as well. He's the same as me. So now he's sleeping in our bed. But it's still disruptive, because he would, first of all, we are in a queen bed, the three of us. He's getting bigger. Like, my sleep is not optimal. And as soon as there is the smallest noise, like, I sleep with a face mask, I need everything to be pitch dark.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, I would say, trained like this when in Europe you have the blinds. It's not blinds, it's called volley, but I don't know in English. But it's the room is pitch dark even when it's bright sun. I love that. And I miss
Wow.
that in America and North America where it's too light. So now I need to sleep with a mask. I sleep with earplugs. But every little noise, like last night, we have a spa beside our place, and the fire alarm went on at 1 a.m.
Mm.
That woke me up.
No.
So all this little disruption, in addition to my first red flag when I'm anxious, is that I wake up.
Yeah. It
So
feels
like
like,
it's a real fight. The sleep is a real fight for me.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like that is like a challenge. You're like, I will get my sleep, and there's all these variables that are like, nope, nope,
Mm-hmm.
nope. Oh man. Okay, well, man, I feel for you because yes, there are a lot of variables going on that it feels like a big challenge. And I was like, man, while you were telling that story, I was like, oh, I just wish I could find some like sleep retreat and like get stuff like where they put you on a cloud or like take out all the light, do something. It's like just get away and get some sleep. But yeah, I can definitely see how that would be difficult and especially like with the anxiety. It's interesting because you said you'll wake up from it. I'm the opposite to where I can't fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like either the anxiety from like my mind racing about all the what ifs, and I'll sit there and, I'll try to take deep breaths. I'll try to like recall all the things like what are you supposed to do to relax yourself and calm your nervous system. So I'll try like the box breathing, or I'll start doing some mantras like I am loved, or like,
Mm-hmm.
just like go to sleep. But it's or like you said when I get in these creative bursts. So sometimes and I was sharing that with you earlier today where I feel like my whole day is great going through the day, and then I lay down to go to sleep and I have like comfy bed, I'm all cozy, and then it's all of the sudden like I get flooded with creativity and I'm like, why now?
Mm-hmm.
Why now? I'm trying to go to sleep and it's like, you should do this. What if we did this? Ooh, have you thought about this? And I feel like I just unlock some part of my brain that was like shelves and boxes of ideas. And I'm like, why are we doing this right now? Why can't I just go to sleep? Because once I fall asleep, I'm out until the
Mm-hmm.
morning. Like I'm a pretty heavy sleep.
My dream. That's
We're
my
like flip
dream.
flopped. I cannot fall asleep. Sometimes I will lay down at like 9 and it'll be 1 a.m. And I'll be like, what
Oh,
are we doing? It is
no.
like, it's been 4 hours of me just laying here being like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Well, maybe, and again, I've tried a lot of things. So there are a few things that I'm thinking as a tool. You could get up and write all of your ideas. So you know in your brain that it's on paper
Mm.
and you don't have to think about it anymore. And maybe, and I've been trying that, but for me it's in the middle of the night where it's like, okay, it's been half an hour. So obviously I'm not gonna fall asleep. So I realized that the more I focus on the fact that I'm not sleeping, the less I sleep. And the later I fall asleep. So I figured while I can sleep, I will use that time. And I feel that it shortened the time. It's not optimal because you still want to sleep, but you shorten the time where you are awake. So in your case, maybe that's the right timing where you either get a pen or paper or journal that is beside your bed, or you record yourself and say, well, I was thinking of this, that you can revisit in the morning. So at least you get all these ideas that you have and you are not afraid of forgetting them, because sometimes that could happen is that you have all these ideas and your brain is like, you're gonna forget them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put that on paper or recording, maybe it's going to help.
Yes, I can see that. And also, I know we've talked about before, I think in the podcast too, is getting that energy out,
Mm.
right? So, writing it can be getting the energy out, even speaking it, because you and I are fans of using those like voice memos and voice recording apps where you can just verbally get things out. So, that does make sense because then if I don't, again, my visual for it is like a little pinball. So each idea is a little pinball. And if I don't get that energy out, it's just chaos because they're
Mm-hmm.
like, we're still in here. Like, what are we going to do?
One of the other things that I want to add that I learned not long ago, because I learned not long ago about human design. And I don't know if I'm going to explain this right, but basically to share what it is, human design, and you can correct me because I'm new to that, but it's everyone has a design based on the date and time that they are born. So you have generator, manifesting generator, projector, and I don't remember the other ones. But we can have an expert at some point.
I know. I was like, we got to have someone on. Yeah.
So basically, you are a manifesting generator and I'm a generator. But something I learned about sleep, I've seen a post at some point that says a manifesting generator and a generator should go to bed only and only when the energy is out, when you are fully drained. So if you don't feel that you are tired, it's not because it's 9 p.m. that you should go to bed. And that truly clicked with me, at least, because I'm someone that is like, oh, it's 9 p.m. I need to go to bed because I need my 9 hours or 8 hours of sleep. And seeing that, I'm not sure if it resonates with you, but you need to feel completely drained and completed before going to bed, or you are not going to be able to sleep. And I felt that was true. So even if it's pushing by 30 minutes or an hour, you will make up because you will fall asleep right away, and then you will have a better night of sleep. So.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. And as you were saying that, what was coming up for me is just the resistance. Like I'm feeling like the from these constraints that we have, just like the social constraints of like, okay, you work 8 to 5.
Mm.
Because I don't feel like I fit in that box. I am not a morning person. Like, and it's funny because my boyfriend, he's a morning person, and he's like, we should go to bed earlier because you like to stay up late. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, that's usually like I do my best work later in the day. First thing in the morning, no. And it's interesting because as you were telling me that, it just made me realize I probably tend to conform and just be like, conform and just be what everyone else does or what we have kind of set up rather than what does my day look like if I'm my best self? And it's interesting because I kind of got to play around and experiment with that this week because last week I came down with something, and I'm usually someone, I don't get sick very often, and I really don't like to use that word because I'm very big on like being mindful of the words that you use and trying not to, I'm big on that stuff. So all last week I was like, I'm healing, I'm allowing my body to rest and do its thing to fight off whatever this is. But it was also a reminder for me that how important rest is needed because yes, while we can have all this energy to create and to do things and to go, but that paired with lack of sleep because there's disruptions from anxiety or disruptions from bursts of creativity, it just run me down. And it got to a point where, and thank you too, because you helped me, like we talked through it, and with me being so hyper independent and not someone who likes to ask for help, not that I don't like it, it's just a challenge for me. Um, you were like, you know what? Like you seem like you should rest. Like you don't sound good. Like you what can you do to rest? And I was like, well, I've got to go teach yoga. I don't want to have to ask someone to cover my class. And then I was like, wow, I think I really should though. And I did, and that just kind of snowballed into everything else that I had an obligation to. Uh, over the next 4 days, I was like, hey, like I'm not feeling well and I need to prioritize my health and get rest. Everyone was like, okay, sounds good. Or like, hey, what do you need? Can I bring you anything? Are you okay? I'm going to check on you. We got you. Don't worry about it. And I was like, it almost felt like something had cleared my entire schedule out. And I had these days where it was just focusing on rest. And it was amazing. But then in it, I was like, I don't do this enough because I push, push, push. And when I have those nights like we're talking about where your sleep is disrupted, you're not getting for me, it's like 7.5 hours is my sweet spot. So like not getting your ample time of like good sleep, that carries over, you know? Do you have that where it like carries over into like the next day for you? Like,
Oh yeah, for
yeah.
weeks, for weeks.
For weeks.
Oh yeah, but because well, my issue is never one night. It's never one night. Usually, what happens when I start to have like sleep issues, it's night after night after night after night. And I prioritize. I had canceled one of our recording because we had a very bad night when Luca was very sick, and that we hardly slept that night. And I knew that I needed my rest, so I canceled our early morning recording session because I knew I needed to prioritize my rest. And that night, yes, I slept, but it was disrupted. But again, my son was sick, and so you have all these external components that makes the sleep harder. So, but the saddest part is that, or maybe the good part, I don't know which way looking at it, is you get used to live on so much lack of sleep, which in the end, I don't think it makes you your best self. And also sometimes what happens is if you have a crappy night, the next day you're fine. You are running on energy that you don't know that you have, but I think it's your reserve. I don't think it's your normal energy, because then the following day, that's when it hits. And I see that happen as well. When I do see that, or when I see that I'm tired, and when I wake up and I know it's going to be a very, very long day, what I do is I already plan a Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra can be a very small, short session and you can find recordings on YouTube where it brings you to a deeper state where you don't sleep, or you're not supposed to sleep. I fall asleep. When I'm tired, I fall asleep, and very quickly. So you go into that deeper state where half an hour of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to 4 hours of sleep.
Really?
So I do that like throughout the day. Like if I had a very crappy night, I know that I will do a Yoga Nidra, and sometimes it's 10 minutes because I'm working. Right? When I'm working, I don't have tons of hours, so I will eat and I will take 10 minutes. These 10 minutes save my entire day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am having a hard time comprehending this. Because I know you've always talked about Yoga Nidra, but I've never really asked you like to deep dive into it, and I don't really know. I haven't really explored it much. But so you can take, for example, 30 minutes, and that's the equivalent of 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't have a science behind that. I don't have like all the knowledge. But from experience, it helps me go through my day and being efficient and being back to myself, I would say, with these just 15, 30 minutes. I like the 30 minutes. That's my favorite time, but sometimes I don't have all this time. But as long as I do a little bit, so I fall asleep, right? The goal is not really to fall asleep, but being in a deeper state of meditations. The way you start is similar to mindfulness, where you will focus on some parts of your body. And then most of the time, I don't hear what she says because I sleep. But then you are into, I think there is one where you are in a room where you feel like very comfortable, but it's all, you are in a very deep meditative state there. And after 20 minutes, and she brings you back to being awake.
So, but is it hard to come out of that? Because for me, for example, I am scared to nap because I feel like a nap for me just is pre-sleep. And I will just go to sleep, and then when I get woken up, I'm like angry.
It's not a nap.
Okay.
I have never passed the Yoga Nidra. I don't know why, because I really fall asleep when I do them. But I never passed the time of the Yoga Nidra. Mm-hmm. So now I know, like, I don't know if it's subconscious or what is going on, but yeah, I'm not afraid now of passing the time and being like, oh my God, I had a meeting that I missed. It never happened.
Okay.
So now I trust myself that I'm going to wake up. And usually I wake up when the person who's leading the recording is saying, take deep breaths. And I'm like, and then it's like, you take a deep breath, like, oh, I'm like, oh no, oh, it's been 25 minutes. I would have stayed there longer. And I do need 5 additional minutes to get back to reality. So what I do usually is I wake up, but yes, because I wake up, I sit and I stretch myself, and then I go grab a glass of water. And then I go in the meeting or whatever I need to do. So you do need some like 5 to 10 minutes to like really get back to your reality and your life. But I've napped in the past a little bit. I was not a napper like my son. We are the same, and I hated that because it makes me so groggy. Like some naps, I felt that I was never able to really wake up from my nap. So it screwed my entire day. I hated that. That's why I didn't like napping. But Yoga Nidra, at least for me, is very different. And it has saved so many of my days. So many of my days. And I know at work, when I was working, I used to, I've talked about it a lot. Like I talked about it with you a lot because it saved my days, and I would say my life, and it saved my work days and my family days. And I've talked with my coworkers and my managers, and some of them started to do it. And they're like, that's amazing. Because I remember one of my managers, we were in a meeting, and I was like, you look very tired. And she said, I hardly slept. So you should do a Yoga Nidra. Like, try a 15 to 30 minutes. So she did the 30 minutes, and she teamed me after, and she said, this just saved my day.
Wow.
Like, I'm able to be focused. And the thing is, and that's what I said to everyone at work, it's so hard. You are working, right? You feel bad because you take some time. But in the end, if you stay tired, you're going to make so many mistakes. You are there, but you are not really there. So you are not efficient. So in my mind, take these 30 minutes. It's not, I don't know, like to party drinking. It's for to rest, right? It's a short time to rest so you can come back and be more efficient. And I mean, if you really need to work 30 minutes, later in your day, if you feel guilty. But to be honest, everyone here works so hard and so much that it's just going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying take 2 hours. That's the thing. I'm not saying take 2 hours. It's 30. I like the 30 minutes mark, but I've already done 10. One day it was a very, very busy day, and I was so tired. So I took 10 minutes, and it helped me. It was the time that it helped was shorter. It helped me during my workday, but as soon as my workday was done, I was like, I'm drained. So these 10 minutes didn't allow me to have my full day, right, with my family. So when the family came, I was like, oh, I'm tired. While the 30 minutes allow me to really last until my bedtime, usually. So that's why I like the 30 minutes. That's my sweet spot, I would say.
Wow.
So I highly encourage everyone that had a really hard night to start Yoga Nidra. And also, to add on to that, it doesn't impact your night. You won't, obviously, you don't do it at 5 p.m., but it doesn't impact your night like a nap would do. So if you
Right.
nap for an hour and a half, it's going to have an impact on your night. This does not impact your night.
Man. Okay, I'm like super excited. I want to try this today because I guess I didn't really understand what it was because I've heard you talk about it all the time, but I never really asked you to like go into like explaining it to me because I always just thought it was like more of like, oh, okay, she does like a meditation or something, but it almost sounds like you just like re-up your battery a little bit. Like you get,
Exactly.
yeah. So I'm
Exactly.
like, oh my God, I want to do this. Okay, cool.
It's like
Well,
you're plugging your phone in the electricity. It's the same. You are recharging yourself. So yes, you are lying down. You make yourself as cozy as possible, and you put on the recording, and you just listen to the voice. You don't have to think. You just focus on the voice. So it resets your nervous system. You don't have to go into these stories. And actually, I use Yoga Nidra to help me fall asleep as well. There are some Yoga Nidras specifically designed for you to fall asleep for the night and stay asleep for the night. I've used them. For me, it doesn't prevent me for waking up. Because again, my main issue is that it's not at the beginning of a night,
Right.
unless I had something exciting during the evening. So my issue is mainly in the middle of a night. But using Yoga Nidra at the beginning of a night, I think it would help.
yeah.
Because at 3 or 4, I'm afraid that I'm gonna be asleep for longer if I do that.
Like won't wake up. Yeah. Oh, and I loved what you said too that brought up something I saw. I don't know if you told me this or I saw a quote somewhere, but it kind of goes in alignment with how you said like our working culture, we're so big on working and it's almost like burnout's okay. You know what I mean? Like you're almost like applauding people like, "Oh, you're working so hard," and it's like, "No, that's a problem." But I saw or there was a quote about we're always so quick to charge our phones, and most of us have so many different chargers, different rooms of your house, different ways of making sure that your little phone is charged, but we don't do that with ourselves. Imagine if each of us could really figure out like those 4 to 5 ways of how we feel recharged. Like for me, if I go take a walk outside, oh my God, it's like a whole new world. I'm like, why don't I do this more often? So like if you can come up with 4 or 5 things that you really feel at your best, you feel alive, you feel so good, and you like put them around your home or your work, or even if it's a little reminder that it's like, hey, it's like you to yourself, like go outside and take a walk. which I know that's you for me. You're always like, "Have you taken a
I'm a
walk
little
today?"
voice.
I know. I always say,
Walk. Have you taken your walk today?
"Mm-hmm." I have like a little
Don't
step on
forget
my
to
shoulder.
walk.
But I mean, think about that. I think we put so much emphasis on what's my battery at? What's my battery at for technology?
Mhm.
And our laptops for work, all that stuff. We're always making sure we're keeping things plugged in and charged. But are we really doing that for ourselves?
We
No,
are
probably
not.
no.
We are not. Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. And it's so interesting, like why is it so challenging to prioritize like this, like ourselves? You know, that's,
I feel because the culture is now, the saying, I will sleep when I'm dead.
oh my God. Yes, that's horrible.
And it's funny because I've never been this way. And my husband always make fun of me. But when I go to bed, like the sensation of going in the bed and the sheets and like me going into something warm and cozy, and I'm like, oh, that's the best time of the day. I love that. I love going to bed. Like I enjoy it. But most of people don't. That's why I don't have any issue going to bed at 9 p.m. because I love that such an amazing moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the people don't feel that way.
Mm.
And I'm a morning person, or at least I was. But I want to raise something again that I raised in other episode is there are seasons.
Mm.
There are seasons where you will fall asleep instantly and you will sleep through the night. I'm still waiting for that season. But there are seasons like this. There are seasons where you will sleep less, right? There are seasons where you will need less sleep. There are seasons where you will need more sleep. And every time it's a new discovery. I mean, for 4 or 5 years, I used to wake up at 4 a.m. every day. And I had no issues, well, the regular issues, but I was going through my days. It was okay. I didn't need my little yoga nidra in between, but I'm still getting up at 4 a.m. and I would go and I would do my workouts. And I had 2 hours, 2 full hours of me time, which were very essential to me. And I started my day with working out. I did that for, I think it was 5 years. And last year, I started to be in a burnout. And I think that's when you heard me start complaining a lot with my sleep because it has taken a toll where I would wake up at 1 a.m. and I would not fall asleep. So in reality, I was not awake since 4 a.m., but 1 a.m.
Mm.
And it was harder and harder for me to be efficient at work. I was tired. There was all these worries. And it brings worries that normally would not worry you, right? Because you are not in your best self. So everything makes you annoyed or angry or sad. So slowly, I decided that I will get up later and later. But then that cuts on my me time,
Mm.
my most important time of the day for me to be my best self. Yet I ended up not being my best self. So starting to get up at 4:30 was not working. At 5, it was better. Then I changed to 5:30 and it worked. But I cut a lot. I cut an hour and a half of my time.
Mm.
So I had to modify my morning schedule. And I also realized that I needed to start my day in a peaceful and quiet time. I was no longer very happy on working out. Like it was too of a shock of getting up. I was too tired. So I switched my working out schedule, made it very short, like 20 minutes working out. Not as I used to do HIIT training, and so this was more weight training, like more gentle-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I still push myself, but so I completely transformed my morning schedule. But it was very difficult to do so because my ego was, hey, you used to wake up at 4 a.m. Now I have friends who did the opposite. They used to say, wow, I don't know how you do that. And I was very proud of myself, ego talking there. And now they're the ones who do that, and I'm jealous of them. And they are very proud, and they publish this on social media. And I'm, kind of jealous because that used to be me, yet I was not screaming it, on social media or advertising it. Some like, well, you could not before, but now you can. And now I could before, and now I can. But we are on a different journey. We are on a different season.
Yep. Ooh.
I may be more in a wintry season where I need to rest, relax, do less. And they may be in summer season, which is warmer and getting up earlier. So it comes back to the comparison that we talked about, where we have to compare ourselves with ourselves and not look on the outside and always reinvent ourselves and change things when it's not working anymore. And sleep is a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said about the seasons thing too. Because it's like, I love it, but it's so easy for me to forget it. That we all, I mean, seasons can be for like so many things, but like sleep is so important that it's like, maybe there are going to be periods of time or spans where you do need more sleep than usual. And instead of like getting frustrated with it, just recognizing that's the season that I'm in right now and my body needs more rest. And honoring that and realizing that it's like if you push yourself, your body is going to shut down. Like what happened to me last week, because I just kept going and I just kept going. And again, I'm not someone who comes down with things easily, knock on wood. And when that happened, I was like, okay, this is not normal. This is not normally how I function. I need to just stop, take a pause, and evaluate like what's going on. Like I can't keep going. Like I just need to rest and just allow my body to do what it does. And because I think sometimes too, in our culture, it can be like, oh, you just take some medicine and keep going. And it's like, but that's just temporarily taking care of like a symptom. Like your body's job, like it knows how to do things. It just needs you to stop. Like, please just lay here while we do our inside work, if you will, because again, my head always goes to like, there's little Fraggle Rock people that live inside of you that are like, let us do our job. But you can't fully allow your body to do what it does best unless you slow down and you just rest. And
100%.
It's such a hard concept for me to, because I was like, oh, I can just take some Dayquil and keep going. And then a part of me was like, nope. Like you drink water, get sleep, and just let it do its thing. Let it run its course.
I love what you shared, and it's so true. We tend, as a human, to want the fastest route and the easy route. And what you shared is so true as well. Listening to the cues in your body is so important, and that's where most of the time we don't know our cues. Because we've been going so fast that we don't stop to pause and say, hey, I have this. What do I need? And it can be, sleep is a big one where it could link to you having a headache. So you will reach out for the Advil or Tylenol to ease your pain and continue. Or it could be food. And yesterday, and I knew I was exhausted, and I wanted a Coke. So I went for this Coke. And while I was drinking it, I knew exactly why I was craving. And it was not just a wanting. And I like Coke, but I haven't drank Coke for a while. But I knew exactly why. I was craving it. Sugar. My body was craving the sugar to be able to go because I was so exhausting. So what did it want? Carbs. I wanted fried. We ate fried chicken, but it's homemade, so it's healthier-ish. So I wanted something fried. I did not reach out for the chips, but the chips were calling me, so carbs and sugar, the Coke. That's the cues, but I knew why. I knew why, and I was like, that's okay, I'm gonna get my Coke, it's not an everyday thing. But that's an impact of the lack of sleep. When you don't listen to yourself, it can impact in areas where you don't think. Right, when in the middle of the day, when people will grab their candy or their bag of chips or their Coke or their, well, liquor, same thing. So some things to go on with their day, or their caffeine. Caffeine is a big one as well. Mm-hmm. It's just because you're lacking sleep.
Yes. Oh my
But
gosh.
you don't think about it. You're like, oh, that's my go-to, right? Or I have my slump, let's go.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna have rice or all these carbs, like the spaghetti. Spaghetti is a big one too. So it's when you start to have these cravings where like, oh, what do I really need? Or headaches or stomach aches. Stomach aches could be one of them too.
Yeah.
Like your slump of energy, like you don't feel good in your body. That could be the lack of sleep as well. Mm-hmm. Because your body is like, hey, I need energy, but this energy is not from food, it's from sleep.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I want to give sleep a hug and be like, I'm so sorry, sleep. I want to be friends with you. Please forgive me.
Yeah, that's. I think one of the hardest thing also is to let it go, be resilient. We fight so much with sleep. Either is I do not want to sleep and miss one minute of my life, or it's I want to sleep, I want to sleep, I want to sleep. Like I'm in the second category where I know I need my sleep, so I really want to sleep. So it's every night is a battle.
Yeah.
Every night is a battle. And the more the battle, the less you're going to have what you want.
Surrendering to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Easier said than done.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And there are so many ways also that you can try. And I want to give tools for the listeners that they can try. So you have a Yoga Nidra during the day when you have been lacking sleep. Obviously, there is, if you are doing insomnia, something may be bothering you. So my advice would be go and find what it is. Go in the root of the issue. Mm-hmm. What is making you anxious? Because sometimes I have insomnia. I don't know what I'm anxious about something. So when I go deeper, I'm like, oh, that's why. I didn't think I was anxious for that, but turns out I am. So for me, it's my first red flag. You can do things like adding essential oil in your cushion, on your arms. Like I used to smell it, like to really brings you to a peaceful state. Mm-hmm. No screens.
Yes.
No screens 1 hour before bed. I used to not watch TV for the entire work week. And I will watch on Friday and Saturdays. Now that I'm not working, it's kind of felt, but it's going to start again when I'm working. You can have meditation to calm your nervous system. You can do breathing exercises like you mentioned, the box breathing or any kind of breathing. Mindfulness also, like body scan. You can do hypnosis, sleep hypnosis. You find recordings on YouTube. Make sure that you are tired. like I mentioned, sometimes you go to bed just because it's the time, but you're not ready to go to bed. And that's the tools that came in mind, but I'm sure that there are tons of more tools.
Yeah, but I think it's important to find what makes sense for you, right? So little experiments, try it, and like this didn't work for me, but okay, this was amazing. This really helped me, and I'm going to stick with that. And just committing to yourself, like, yes, I'm going to do this, because again, sleep is such an important part of our experience. You know what I mean? Our human experience. So it's like we need to prioritize that and not see it as like a burden or something that we like want and desire. Like really take those actionable steps and make it a priority. And like, this is a non-negotiable. Like sleep has to be, an essential part of my day.
And try it for at least 2 weeks, because one time is not enough.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks will give you a cue whether it's working, if you like it or not, and then 40 days if you want to make it a habit.
Right.
Before that, it's not going to be a habit. So 40 days, which is very difficult sometimes to do for 40 days, and at least 2 weeks. So you have a good sense whether you like it or not, and if it's working or not. So
right. I like that.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, this episode flew by.
I know. So much good stuff, though. I feel I'm definitely going to try the Yoga Nidra because I'm so intrigued about that for during the day. But yeah, there's a lot of good tips to try. 40 days. I like it.
Thank you so much. And I hope you listeners had helpful tools. And we'll talk to you very soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. We hope the stories and insights we've shared today have inspired you to embrace your abundant soul and live your life with more presence, purpose, and passion.
Remember, the path to awakening is unique for each of us, but we're all connected by our yearning for deeper meaning and authenticity. So keep an open heart and mind and trust that the universe will guide you exactly where you need to go.
This has been the Abundant Soul Podcast. See you next Sunday as we continue to explore the depths of spiritual awakening and personal growth.